Have you guys ever wondered what it would be like to have devil fruits in Minecraft? Well, today I'm here to answer and show you that exact question. So today we are currently in the Mine No Me mod, a mod for 1.15.2 of Minecraft Java Edition. And this has added devil fruits into Minecraft, but it has added a lot more than devil fruits. It has added races, abilities, technically, I guess you could say kind of like clans, or I guess you could say groups, or really like factions, so I should say factions, that you could all become, whether it be pirate, navy, or even a revolutionary army member. So yeah, this mod has added a lot, but in today's video we're going to be looking over every single devil fruit. I am a huge One Piece fan, and I'm hoping to bring more anime content, different things like that to the channel. So if you guys really do like this video, remember to subscribe to the channel, because we have a bunch, and I mean a bunch, as you can see here, of devil fruits that we're going to be going over in today's video. So it is definitely going to be a long one. I'm going to have timestamps in the description giving it to every single devil fruit. So if you want to see a specific devil fruit, I'm going to have a timestamp down in the description for each and every single one with Japanese and English names, so you guys can tell the difference between the two. So yeah, hope you all really enjoy the video, and remember to subscribe to the channel so that I can keep doing this and we can do this in the future. Also, these mods are going to be very destructive, and I am going to be explaining some of them, but some of them I am not. Some of them I'm just going to be putting music behind them because they're very straightforward, while others are a little bit more complex and you're actually going to be hearing my voice talking. So some devil fruits may get a little bit more love than others. Just going to go ahead and let you guys know that, because some of them are a lot more fun than others and have a lot more, well, abilities and things. So yeah, hope you all really enjoyed the video. Subscribe to the channel. We are on the road to 1K, and yeah, let's get into it. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and say you just spawned into the world and you're looking to go ahead and say, hey, how can I get my hands on a devil fruit? Well, you can actually get your hand on devil fruit with a couple of reasons. Now, you can't actually go into the game files. You can set it to where devil fruits will spawn naturally off of trees, just like apples or so would. And you could also set it to be where there was only one of each devil fruit inside the world or the server or whatever you're playing on, right? But, you know, those are really rare chances to get those, and you don't really want to try to go for those. So a more reliable option is to go essentially looking for ships and for certain structures that actually have these boxes. Now, as you see, there's 3 boxes with a rarity system on how devil fruits work. So there's a wooden box, a iron box, and a golden box. Now, the wooden box will give you the most common types of devil fruits, the weaker ones like Kilo and Suka and things like that. The iron box will give you slightly better fruit, while the golden box will give you more like Logia types of fruits. Now, how you actually unlock these boxes is with this key here. Now, you can also get these keys, I believe, in these structures. You might also be able to craft them, and I do believe you could buy these off of certain merchants. So I would try all 3 of those to make sure you can get these, but only thing you really need to get a devil fruit out of these crates is you have to have a key in your inventory. You can have any one of these boxes in your inventory. All you have to do is go to the box, right click, and bam, you will then gain a devil fruit, like this Ope Ope that I have right here in my hand. So now that you have the devil fruit, all you have to do is just right click, you can eat it, and bam, you now have the devil fruit actually on you, and you also gain its abilities. So yeah, that's essentially how devil fruits work. Now, I do want to go ahead and also give you guys a little bit of a showcase of the negatives of having a devil fruit. So you do gain water that goes above your waist. You do gain these 3 weaknesses, as you guys can see here. You will gain infinite weakness, infinite mining fatigue, and infinite slowness. I cannot raise out of the water right now. I will only sink and slowly drown. So yeah, essentially when you get into water, any water, does not matter what the water is, even if it could be a freaking puddle, if it goes above your waist, you will sink, and you will drown. And so yeah, and when you die, you will lose your devil fruit. So if you do want to actually get rid of your devil fruit, this is an easy way to get rid of your devil fruit, is literally just kill yourself, and you will lose your devil fruit, as you guys can see here. So yeah, that's essentially how you get a devil fruit, how you can lose it, the negatives of having a devil fruit, and yeah, so I just really want to make sure that you guys knew that ahead of time before you guys went ahead and started jumping into using them, and you know, just seeing what you wanted to get from them. So yeah, also, one other thing that I want to go ahead and preference is that if you are a fishman and you do go underwater, you will not drown. Fishmen have the ability to breathe underwater, so you will literally just be stuck there sinking underground. So essentially you have to either dig your way out or figure out a way for your friend to help you to get out or something along those lines, but you will not die by drowning if you do pick fishmen as your race. So yeah, just wanted to let you guys know that, and yeah, let's go ahead, hop right on into the actual devil fruits themselves. Alrighty, so hopping right into the first devil fruit, the one that I'm actually going to start off by explaining because this is a super useful actual fruit just for getting through the game in case you're having a hard time playing in hardcore mode or something along those lines for hunger. And we're going to be starting with the Kiku fruit. So this is what the Kiku Nomi fruit. Sorry, I do not know what this fruit is in English. I'll leave the name down in the description. But it essentially has 3 abilities. As you can see here, we have Gourmet Metamorphosis, which makes all the items in the user's inventory edible, Gastronomorph, which turns the surrounding areas into cake sponge blocks, and then you have Gourmet Snipe, which essentially launches the user forward and converts everything into food. So essentially, this devil fruit allows you to make everything turn into food. So when you get it, you just right click it, when you have it in your hand, and you will eat the devil fruit. After that, you just put essentially the powers that the devil fruit gives you in your hotbar, and then you can access them. So first off, I'm going to go ahead and show you guys the first ability. So when I hit 1 here, it will have 1,000 seconds essentially, and everything in my inventory from this point onwards will become edible. Whether it's a grass block, I can eat it. There, as you see, it bumped on my hat. Whether it's a sword, I can eat it. So literally anything in your inventory then becomes edible. It will essentially turn into, you could just eat whatever you would like, and bam, your health bar goes back up. You could eat wood, you can eat swords, you could eat armor, you can eat literally everything, and it will become essentially just your hunger bar. So you will almost never run out of hunger ever with this ability, and it lasts forever, as you guys can see. And obviously if I just hit 1 again, I can cancel it, and essentially the ability will go on to cooldown where I'm not using it. But yeah, no, so you will essentially never run out of hunger with this fruit. It is a very interesting fruit when it comes to that. The second ability is bam. You create a bunch of cake blocks beside you, and of course I'm not hungry right now, but if I do end up getting hungry by just running around, I can show you guys. But you can actually eat those cake blocks and also restore your hunger, which is super cool. So you legitimately just create huge, massive, just cake splashes everywhere. This is the exact radius of the cake splashes you create with this devil fruit. It's pretty freaking cool. I mean, I do have to admit, it's a really, really cool ability. You will, never run out of food with this devil fruit ever in your life. So then we have the final ability, which I'm going to go back in a first person to show off, because this ability is a very unique ability. So if I hit 3 here with a sword in my hand, now, of course, you do have to have a sword in your hand for this ability. I have the Pirate Cutlass, which is a weapon you can get with the mod. If I hit 3... I will dash forward, and literally everything after that was behind me will effectively become food. As you guys can see here, there's rabbits, there's apples. All of this is now food just by me hitting 3, which is super, super cool. So just every single thing, whether it's blocks, that become cake, just anything. So yeah, essentially with this devil fruit, you just never run out of food. It literally will turn anything into food, and it's a really, really cool devil fruit. So yeah, that's definitely going to be the first one that we're going to be starting off with. But yeah, no, really, really awesome fruit there. Alrighty, so the next fruit after Kiku that we are going to be looking at is going to be none other than the Pero fruit. Now, this is essentially the candy fruit. This is what it looks like. It looks like a swirling peppermint. And if you guys haven't actually already seen it, I do have the devil fruit already equipped. So we go into abilities. We can go ahead here and see our abilities that you currently get when you have the Pero fruit. So you get Candyman, which traps a target inside hardened candy, immobilizing and suffocating them. A candy wall. The user creates a wall made out of candy in front of them. The candy Escalator, which creates an escalator made out of candy. Candy Wave, which launches a wave of candy and traps enemies in hardened candy. And then Candy Armor, which coats yourself with a hard candy armor and then boosts your defense, but also reduces your mobility. So we're going to go ahead here and show off all of these abilities, as I do have them all equipped. Now, I guess we can go ahead here on this poor little... I actually don't remember the name of it too well, because this is a custom mod that's in the mod. But if I go ahead here, hit 1, hit it, yes, it is entrapped within a block of candy, and it will slowly start to suffocate to death. And I do believe this kills. I do not believe this candy freeze before they die. They will die when this is used. So yeah, that is kind of like an insta-kill move, but it does have a little bit of a cooldown, so you do have to be kind of wary of that. Next up, you're going to be using Candy Wall. Now, as soon as you click it, a wall of candy, which these are candy blocks, will appear in front of you, and it is a thick wall. It is a thick wall of 3 blocks, and is about, I believe, 4 high. Yep. So 3 blocks wide, 4 blocks tall, and it's very thick. Now, this candy block you cannot mine. You cannot get in the block itself, but you can get it with the devil fruit. And this is a solid block and will stay here forever. Even if you do not have the devil fruit, this block will stay here. You can actually break them and like look through and see other things. So once you have this devil fruit, you can create like an entire house just literally based off of just this devil fruit with this, and these blocks will stay here even if you do lose the devil fruit. So yeah, if you want to make a whole house out of candy, you can do that if you truly wanted to. After that, we have the Escalator. Now the Escalator does not work exactly how you think it would. You have to kind of look up, press the ability, and it will slowly build a bridge over just like that. And so yeah, now with this little gap here that I have, we have an entire bridge successfully made out of candy that we can now use to cross back over and get back more towards spawn, which is super cool ability, just to be able to do that and be able to create staircases like that. There are a couple of other devil fruits that also kind of give you the ability to do this, but this one's really cool because you can make like quick walkways, and yet again, this will also stay whether you keep the devil fruit or not. So whether you actually have the devil fruit on you or something else has devil fruit on them, once you create this block will stay. So this block is legitimately going nowhere, which is really awesome to see. Now the ability after that is Candy Wave. Now when you use Candy Wave, it essentially turns everything that you look at into candy. So it will turn these blocks into candy. It will turn the tree, as you can see here, into candy once I re-get it. So literally all you have to do is kind of look at it, and the angling for it is a bit weird. I will not lie, it is a bit weird in how you use it, essentially because I think most of it is on the ground, but it like travels in essentially a direction when you look down, and it will turn essentially anything into candy, regardless of what it really is. So yeah, just like that, bam. An entire cave or anything else just made out of entire candy. So yeah, really awesome ability there as well. And so then for his final ability, or the devil fruit's final ability, you have Candy Armor, where essentially you will gain a candy coating, and this will give you essentially vulnerability. There are a couple of other devil fruits that have a lot of stuff similar to this. You guys are going to be seeing that a lot towards the end. It essentially gives you a essentially like almost incurable defense where they can't really hurt you, but yeah, your mobility is slowed, and it is only temporary. Other devil fruits do it a lot better where it's more permanent, but that is temporary, and it does reduce your movement speed, so you do have to remember that. But yeah, no, that is the Pero fruit, the candy fruit, an awesome fruit, and I really do enjoy it. Alrighty, so the next fruit up on the list right after Pedo fruit is going to be none other than Susu no Mi, which is essentially Senor Pink's devil fruit. If you guys do not know who Senor Pink is, well, watch One Piece. But he actually has a really awesome devil fruit. And this devil fruit has a lot of stuff that it can do. So, it has free swimming, which lets the user swim through blocks like they were in the sea. Nakomi Punch, which propels the swimmer forward and essentially deals damage to all enemies they hit. The Neon Suplex, which essentially grabs an opponent from the back, launches them into the ground, dealing moderate damage and creates a small crater. And then you have Neon Suplex Baby Buster, which while swimming grabs an opponent from the back and launches them into the sky and then to the ground, creating a huge explosion. Now, these are all very interesting abilities, because essentially what this devil fruit allows you to do is essentially go into spectator mode, but also be able to hit people, which is super cool. So when I hit one, this will always be active. No matter what, all I have to do is essentially go into one. And I'm also sorry about the way his looks. It does look a little bit weird, I'm not going to lie. But yeah, no, you can even like go out of the ground, right? You stand on top of a brick, I could jump on top of this block, walk around like it's nothing, and it will still be active. The only thing I actually need to do to make sure that I'm actually going in through a block is double tap forward while in a block. So I could jump up here and be completely fine, like it's a normal solid block. But if I want to go through it, just double tap forward and bam. Now you will sync automatically, so you don't have to worry about that. Also sometimes loading does do that as well. You do have to also be careful about where you reappear, but essentially if you just hold space, you continue to go up. There's an abandoned mine shaft down there. It does like load in, load out sometimes. But yeah, no, so that's essentially what his main ability is being able to just go into spectator mode, travel through the world, and being able to do that with his devil fruit. But you also gain some other abilities. Now I'm going to quickly here move a little bit away from the main area because we don't want to hurt anything, but let's go ahead and use our second ability here. Bam, it will launch you forward like that really fast through the ground, and you'll be able to hit enemies and do damage. It doesn't do a lot of damage, and it doesn't send you super far, but it does, you know, it sends you enough essentially. It's a way for you to really be able to travel. Also doing damage with it isn't going to be the most ideal thing in the world either. Now if I go ahead here and use my third ability while near an enemy, I will slowly go down like this, and it will create a small crater through the ground. That's literally it. It is essentially a command grab. You will grab them regardless, and they really can't do much about it, to be fair. Now if I go back down here, we're going to go ahead and show you guys his ultimate ability, which is essentially Baby Suplex, which is super cool. So you walk up underneath an enemy. On this one, unfortunately, while it is super cool to land, it is a little bit hard to actually get on an opponent because of the way how certain things have to be located. You have to get behind them, and you have to press F like this, and it will raise them and you into the sky. So you'll be raised into the sky along, and you will drop them, boom, back down with a massive explosion, just like that, causing massive damage. So yeah, no, that's incredible damage. Pretty decent sized crater, especially for that awesome suplex. So you literally just grab enemies and essentially launch them into the ground. I had to go over and explain this Devil Fruit because it's just so busted. Essentially just giving somebody the ability to see whatever they want through their bases, through the ground, be able to travel at such places. But yeah, sometimes it does kind of be a little bit bugged on what it wants to show you and what it doesn't. But yeah, no, it is still a really awesome Devil Fruit. Alrighty, so the next fruit on the list is going to be the Yomi no Mi fruit. Now, this is an interesting fruit that works differently than most other Devil Fruits because this is Brook's Devil Fruit. Now, if you guys don't know who Brook is, he is the skeleton of the Straw Hat Pirates, you know, and he ate essentially what is the Revive fruit. So, how does this fruit work in Mine no Mi? So it says I have the Yomi no Hi, and I cannot access the abilities while I'm currently alive. So when you actually do get this Devil Fruit, what you have to do is you have to eat it, and then after that you essentially have to kill yourself. So when you die, or essentially you eat it and then you could just save onto it until you actually die, but to gain the most abilities of it, you're gonna want to probably kill yourself. So I'm gonna go ahead here, kill myself, I will respawn, and bam, I am now a skeleton, just like Brook. So now I essentially am a skeleton. I've gained the ability of having a speed increase. In here, it's an infinite speed increase, as you guys can clearly see that I am faster than the average person slightly. So yeah, you know, I gain that speed increase with also the Devil Fruit. So I gain that ability, and then also here, I gain the ability of Soul Parade, or Parade, whatever. The user blocks incoming attacks with an enemy hitting them gets frozen immediately, so essentially it acts like a parry. So with enemies try to hit me, that'll work as a parry. The Kasaruta Fubuki Giri, which I'm sorry about that, but it's a quick slash that also freezes enemies essentially. You're going to need a sword for this one, I believe. And then Yomi no Riki. The user spirit levels allows them to freely explore nearby areas, which is super awesome. So let's go ahead and see these abilities in action. So essentially, oh, I do need a sword. So I'm going to quickly just grab a random, you know, sword here. And essentially, you know, what you would do is not that, not what I just did. You'd hit one and you would stand completely idle. And essentially what it would do is an enemy would hit you and it would kind of work as a counter. Now, currently, I don't have any enemies that I could spawn to technically do this with. But essentially, just trust me, it works like a counter. As long as you have a blade in your hand, if somebody hits you, you will legitimately just knock them back, essentially. And that is how it works when you put it on cooldown. Now, if I go ahead here, hit the number 2 ability, bam, I will flash by, freezing enemies, just like Brook does in One Piece, and you will flash by, and you will just straight up just hit your enemies and freeze them. And it does a decent amount of damage too, so you're almost guaranteed to kill your enemies. So yeah, really awesome with that. And then number 3, which, yeah, I actually do have to actually change my game mode very quickly to survival, so you guys can actually see this ability. But essentially, yeah, I become a floating head. Now, I am a floating head that essentially is just flying. I can phase through the ground just like the Sui Sui fruit. You could do other things. You could phase through solid trees. You're essentially just like a ghost. Now, there is a range limit to this. And your body is still essentially out there. As you guys can see right there, my actual body is sitting right here, and I believe you can actually be damaged when this thing is happening, but there is a range limit to you. I'm going to go ahead and show you guys here that range limit. So, you know, you can only go so far, and then bam, you know, I return to my body. So, yeah, you do have to be careful of that. But other than that, yeah, that is essentially Brook's Devil Fruit. It's really awesome to see, and I wanted to go ahead and highlight it because you do have to actually die to be able to get this Devil Fruit, and you do also get this weird body. So, you do have to remember that as well. But yeah, no, a really awesome Devil Fruit, and yeah, I really can't wait to you know, see what people could do with this one. Alrighty, so this devil fruit that I have here in my hand is going to be none other than the Hito Hito fruit, which is essentially the string fruit. Now, if you guys want to go in here and see its abilities, it is going to have Parasite, which essentially allows you to attach a string to nearby enemies and have them completely immobilize or stop them. Soranomichi, which essentially allows you to move through the air as long as there was clouds. This is essentially flight, but not permanent flight. You can only do it like a certain amount of times, then it'll stop. Tomito, which user shoots a small bundle of strings acting like a bullet, so essentially it's just bullet string. Overheat, which essentially shoots a rope that's heated up string and it essentially makes an explosion on contact. Komo Komo no Saguchi, which creates a huge web that protects the user from any attack. So essentially, this one you stand in place and essentially like you can't be hit by anything by the web in front of you. Torikaga, which is the coolest thing probably about the string fruit in this mod, is it creates an invincible dome out of strings that damages anybody who touches them. It literally is the birdcage ability. You literally get that in the game, and you guys will see it in a second. It's really awesome ability. And then Black Knight, which essentially allows you to create a clone of yourself, which you can switch between an aggressive and defensive mode. So hey, maybe you want to throw players off their guard, you could launch an exact clone of yourself. You can make it aggressive for where it will attack people, and you can also put it in a defensive mode, which is super awesome. So let me go ahead here and just show off some of the abilities here. Now if I go ahead here and use the Parasite string on this little horsey here, as you can see, I think do I actually have to hit it? I don't know. Either way, essentially just use Parasite string. They won't be able to move at all. You could just use it on people. They will not be able to move whatsoever. Now, if I hit 2, yeah, you can see I'm attaching strings to clouds essentially, and I am able to move. Now, this is limited. I believe you can only do it about 8 times. And then after 8 times, you will fall like that. I could not do it anymore. So you will fall, but essentially it gives you temporary flight. And yeah, you could use that kind of against a lot of other enemies. There's actually some enemies that just showed up here, thankfully. So we can go ahead here and show off another ability, which is Bullet String, which is just a straight shot. Yeah, the cooldown on it's almost nothing. So yeah, killing those people with like literally nothing. Also 4, here's Heat String. Essentially is Bullet String, but with explosive power. You guys can clearly see right there. So yeah, I just blew all those guys up with Heat String, which is super cool ability. For this is fishnet. So like I said, yes, it creates a web in front of you and it will also turn with you. So essentially you are invincible there for that little short period of time. Nobody can hit you, nobody can do any damage to you as long as they're actually facing the web. Now next up, I'm going to show you guys the birdcage ability. Now this is a very cool ability. There is like I think a couple of other devil fruits that use a similar gimmick, but it's not exactly the same. I know for a fact Ope Ope kind of works similarly, but yes, here is none other than the bird cage. Bow. Now once this ability goes down to the bottom, boom, there we go. Here is the bird cage. Now as you guys can actually see, if I quickly fly over here, these are actually made up of blades. Now if a player actually runs into these they will take damage, hurting damage, and yeah, so this is essentially the birdcage. This will stay up as long as I have the ability active. It will not go down until I press this ability again. And yeah, you could just trap players in here, and then you could whip out your melee weapons. If I actually had one, I would be able to. You could attack them and essentially just lock them into place and make it where they can't do anything because they're literally trapped within a birdcage. So yeah, this is the sickest ability I think probably in the mod, or one of them in fact, and it's definitely a reason why you want to use string and why string is so freaking strong as a actual devil fruit. But yeah, it's actually an amazing paramecian fruit, and yeah, this birdcage is insane, and what you could do with this birdcage is also just absolutely crazy. So yeah, you can have some really, and I mean really interesting death matches and so on in this birdcage. So yeah, really awesome to see it. I mean, an amazing ability. So yeah, just after that, bam, hit 6 again, it is gone, and it does have a little bit of a cooldown, but yeah. So anyway, final ability is, bam, a clone. So it will create a clone of you having your Minecraft skin. It will essentially walk around, and if I was to spawn like Marines or something that are the enemies of it, it would be able to attack them. And if I hit shift, it will switch between an aggressive and a defensive mode. If I play defensive mode, it will defend me, it will fight enemies and try to keep himself safe and kind of run away. Well, if I hit shift again, it will go into an attack mode where it will actually start attacking whether it be players or NPCs or whatever it is essentially. So yeah, you just gotta have a clone of yourself that can do multiple different things like that as well. So yeah, literally string is one one of the best fruits in the game. I would highly recommend getting it. It is such an amazing fruit, and I could not recommend using it any freaking more than that. So yeah. Alrighty, so the next fruit that we're going to go ahead here and be looking at is going to be none other than the Gamunomi, otherwise known as the Gum Gum fruit. And if you guys already know, this is Luffy's fruit, so we do have Gum Gum in the game. Now I do want to go ahead and specify before we go ahead here and look at all these abilities that you are going to actually need Haki to be able to use all of Luffy's abilities. You're going to be able to need to get some Haki. You're going to be able to get full body hardening. That is what you need, and you really need this Haki here to be able to access Gear 4. So yeah, make sure you have some Haki if you're going to use Gum Gum, because it is an interesting fruit and you will need it for Gear 4, otherwise you will not be able to access Gear 4 without full body hardening. Okay, so first off, we have Gomu Gomu no Pistol, which uses their arms to hit an opponent. Gum Gum Gatling, obviously, which is a rapid fire of punches. Gum Bazooka, which hits the enemies with both hands and launches them away. Gum Rocket, which essentially launches you essentially there. Gear 2nd, which essentially like puts the blood flow in your user to give you higher speed, higher strength, higher mobility. Gear 3rd, which essentially makes your body fucking huge and you can start doing crazy like grizzly magnums and things like that. And then you have Gear 4, which inflates the muscle structure and increases the power of the attacks and also allows for flight of the user. Now, before we go ahead here and just hop right on into using these abilities, I do want to go ahead and specify that in this mod, I do believe Gum Gum works really weirdly. If I go into third person and use a Gum Gum ability, it looks really weird because it's like a long reach out of my body. Yeah, it looks weird. So like I will try to be doing most of these in first person so you can kind of see. Not that was full body hardening, but yeah, no, that's what Gum Gum looks like in first person. It's really hard to use, honestly, and I really do think the animations and things for it do need to be updated, but I am going to do my best to try to show you guys what it looks like, even though the animations do look kind of really weird. So anyway, as you can see, number 1 is number 2 is yeah, just straight up Gum Gum Pistol. Is shot forward. You can hit enemies with it from pretty far away. Yeah, it does a decent amount of damage. So yeah, definitely want to use that. Number 3 is going to be Gum Gum Gatling. That, in my opinion, is way better animated than Gum Gum Pistol. Honestly, I just feel like Gum Gum Pistol should be put to the side. There's probably like a zombie down there or something. But I really do think Gum Gum Pistol should really just be put to the side, like Gatling, because Gatling's actually really well animated, but Pistol not as much. So yeah, that is essentially Gum Gum Gatling. Really cool. Awesome. Next up we have Gum Bazooka, and what I'm going to do is spawn more pirates very quickly so I can actually use this on them. Okay. So Gum Bazooka. Gum Bazooka has a little bit of a build-up, and you just hit enemies with a super big punch. It does a crap ton of damage, so yeah, be careful about that. Also, those moves look really well with, if I actually go here and quickly show you guys, because of Haki, work really well with this hardening Haki as well. If you aren't going to be using Gear 4, you can just straight up use the just arm Haki, and that will do more damage, so do remember that. Anyway, so moving on, number 5 is going to be Gum Rocket. This is essentially the launching move. You essentially launch out a thing, you could pull yourself to it, and essentially just like launch yourself like across places. Gum Rocket, classic Luffy move, everyone knows what it's like. So yeah, that's really cool. After Gum Rocket, we are going to have none other than second gear. So, second gear, you get the sound effect as you see there. You get a smoke effect around you, just like Luffy. And yeah, when you run, you can actually double tap and you can do quick dashes forward, and you do chafe, essentially, which Luffy has. You do more damage overall, like that. I just 2-tapped him. And so yeah, and I think also your moves, again, yeah, you can see they're actually like you have a arm now, so your moves actually come out a lot faster. So Jet Gatling or Jet. Oh god, I fell in the water. Let me get out of there. Also, yeah, falling in the water yet again. Reset your cooldowns, so be careful about doing that. But yeah, no, that second gear, it essentially just gives you stronger normals or stronger just overall abilities. And so yeah, you'll have that. So after second gear, we are going to have third gear. Now, third gear essentially makes all of your attacks huge. So if I use pistol, do massive amount of damage there and do it. Now, if I actually quickly activate full body hardening and I use it, as you can see clearly there, I also gained massive armor. You could do this with the normal hardening as well, just the one arm hardening as well. But yeah, no. So essentially, it just makes your attacks like just have armor and hockey on them as well in gear 3rd, which is super cool, and they're super big. So yeah, you can do a lot of destructive damage with that, and you don't also have to activate gear 4. So that is something. So finally, I'm going to go ahead and show you guys what gear 4 looks like. And I want to say yet again, I still think gear 4 needs to be added. I think the or it doesn't need to be added, but it needs to be changed. I think a lot of the animations for this is very weird, and it definitely should be adjusted. But oh yeah, I need to activate full body hardening. So full body hardening, which is what you look like with it, and then bam, you will pop this, and you will start bouncing. And yeah, there's essentially no animation or anything. You just start bouncing. Yeah, you also do get observation hockey, and you can fly. Now, yet again, this is a little bit of what happens when you do run out. When you run out of hockey or energy or something, this happens. So do be careful of that. Exactly, it will show you. You get blindness, you get weakness, you get hungry, you get slowness. All of that. Now, I quickly do believe I do have milk on me, so I can actually just go ahead and... Oh, no! Okay, so milk actually doesn't get rid of this. Oh, yeah, it kind of does. It essentially slows this down. But yeah, no, so you do have to be careful, because when you do get out of gear 4 like that, you will run into these kind of weird little weaknesses and everything else. I do believe... Why are they stuck like this? Actually, yeah, never mind. Actually, I do. I think you're stuck like this for 10 minutes. I do believe you're stuck like this for like 10 minutes. So I might come back once I actually have this off, because I didn't expect to run out of full body hardening so quickly. So yeah, kind of makes gear 4 a little bit of a weirder option. So yeah, I will be right back. Alrighty guys, so we're going to go ahead here and move on to the next fruit, and that is going to be the Ope Ope, otherwise known as the Ope Ope fruit. This is Law's fruit, as you guys can clearly see here. We go ahead here and be showing over all of its abilities, so let's go on ahead and just take a quick look at that. So we're going to be looking at room here. It creates a spherical space around the user in which they can manipulate anything and use all of their actual skills. That is essentially room. Counter shock releases a electrical surge like a defibrillator, and you essentially just get to punch enemies and shock them with your fist. It's really cool. Mess, which removes the heart of the user's target, which they can essentially damage and hurt the opponents. So essentially you could take out their heart and literally hit themselves with it. It's really, really cool. I'm going to be showing it to you guys in a second. So that's going to be a really, really awesome ability to go ahead and actually be able to look through, because you could literally kill people just by crushing their hearts. But yeah, after that we're going to have Shambles, which the user swaps places with the closest entity or block within the room, which is pretty cool, just teleportation or movement ability that you could do within your actual room, which is pretty big. So you could use this on a lot. You could use it on blocks, NPCs, a lot of other people. So it has a lot of uses, and is just a super useful ability to actually have. After that, we're going to have Tack. The user lifts entities up and prevents them from moving freely. So essentially you could just hold people in the air with this, and you could drop them down and it does damage. Injection shots is while holding a weapon, the user charges at the enemy and then it leaves them confused. And then Gamma Knife, which creates a blade of gamma radiation, which massively damages the opponent's organs, which is actually a projectile and does not have an animation, and it's really weird. So it's like it's really OP ability, but also really weird. So I don't know. I'm going to have to show it to you all. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead here, and I had some pirates available, but they kind of seem to be spread out or whatever. So I'm going to go ahead here and spawn some more, as you guys can clearly see. So we're just going to spawn some extra pirates so we can actually go ahead and start hitting them or whatever. And we're going to go ahead here and show off the first ability, which is Room. So we'll have a little bit of like a 50-second cooldown, clear up this entire freaking room. So yeah, this is the room that you gotta be able to use your abilities in. This is essentially Law's ability. I do want to let you guys go ahead and know that if you go ahead here, as I'm going to show you guys, if you walk out of the room like this, the room will actually be empty. So you do actually want to stay in the room while using your abilities. You will be limited by that, but the room is pretty big, so you can actually utilize it pretty freely, so I wouldn't worry too much about it. But anyway, here's going to build up again for room, the sound effects. There is your room. So yeah, essentially that's how you set up that. So let's go ahead here and use the second ability, which is essentially the Defibrillator. You'll just hit enemies and shock them by punching them. So eventually you just click on it, you'll punch them, you'll shock enemies. That's really it. So after that, let's move on to Mess here. I will hit this person here, go back into my normal inventory, and as you can see, I actually have a pirate with an axe's heart. And if you guys could see, you know, you can actually use this against other players, and you can like hold their hearts against them. And if I actually right click, I do damage, as you can see, and I will slowly crush their heart, and it will kill them after a while. So yeah, just like that. And you can actually utilize this against players, so that's really awesome to see that you can actually just technically hold their heart against them, and they can do potentially nothing about it. So that's kind of funny. Yeah, that is Shambles. Fourth ability, essentially, as you see, there's particles on the ground, and if you're looking at an NPC or a block, you can switch places with them, so he's over there now, as you guys can see. So yeah, essentially that's just Shambles. It's a really cool movement ability that you can use that's pretty fast, honestly. So yeah, just like that, bam, teleport, and then he's over there, and I'm over here. So yeah, Shambles works exactly like it does in the anime. Next up, we're going to go ahead here. We're looking at Tact. As you guys can see, I'm clearly just holding him up. He cannot move. He cannot do anything. Here, I'm just holding him with Tact. Afterwards, it will slam him down to the ground and dealing a little bit of damage. So yeah, not the greatest damage, but yeah. After that, to be able to use Injection Shot, you will need a sword. But when you have a sword in your hand, you can actually just quickly use Injection Shot. It will have a little bit of a build up, but then bam, you will leap forward, dealing damage just like that, and bam, you'll do a crazy amount of damage and kill them. So last up, we're going to be using Gamma Knife here, and yeah, like I said, it is a projectile. So when you do use it, just like this, it is essentially just an OP projectile. I do wish it had a better animation, but you know, it is what it is. It's essentially a one-shot, so yeah, just utilize Gamma Knife to, you know, your heart's content. And yeah, that's essentially Ope Ope Fruit. So yeah, really cool devil fruit. I do have to say so myself. One of the coolest looking in the game. So yeah, I really hope people enjoy this one. Alrighty guys, we're going to be here and looking at the next devil fruit, which is going to be none other than the Maramara otherwise known as the Maramara Fruit, which is Ace's fruit, or Sabo's fruit, and essentially the Flame fruit. So this fruit has a bunch of abilities. They're all really awesome. It is one of the coolest Logias that is in the game. I do have to say that. It is super awesome. We're going to be here looking at Fire Fist, essentially, and Higen, which essentially just turns the user's the tips of their fingertips into bullets, and essentially lets you do rapid shot. You'll have Dai Inkainte, which is essentially Flame Emperor, which matches as a giant fireball hurled at the opponent. You'll also have Hidamaru, which is essentially Firefly, which creates small green fireballs and sets the targets on fire. You'll also have Jujuju Ku, which essentially launches a cross-shaped column of fire at the opponent. Heat Dash, so Heat Dash actually just launches the user forward with fire and essentially gives you a dash, which is really cool. I don't know if it does damage or not. You also have Kyogen, which creates a wall of fire protecting the user, which essentially just creates a wall where you just can't get hit by projectiles. And then Hibushira, which essentially is Flame Pillar, which creates a fire pillar, so you go upwards and downwards, and it burns every enemy that's in it. And you also have, for a passive, Logia Invulnerability. So yeah, that is essentially his abilities. He'll be showing them off. Mera is a super strong devil fruit, so yeah. First off, with one, that is going to be Fire Fist. It is essentially a burning fist that burns everything around it. It does do less damage to stone, obviously, but yeah, it creates huge explosions, does a huge amount of damage, and is essentially Ace's and Sabo's main move that they use. After that, we're going to be taking a look here at Fire Pistol, essentially, which is essentially just a rapid fire of fire shots. So yeah, essentially you just shoot off a bunch of small fire bullets from your fingertips. Which is super dope. Essentially, it's just like a multi-shot move, as you guys can see here. Or you just hit people, they will get set on fire, and it does that, so it's quick damage. After that, we're going to be taking here a look at Flame Emperor, which has a super sick animation, as you guys are going to be seeing here. I'm currently not going to be hitting anything because it will cause massive damage. When you shoot it, it will look like that. It will be a massive freaking ball of fire that you could just smack into anything or hit anyone with, which is super dope. So I'm just going to let this cooldown go down, and then I'm going to actually potentially hit somebody with it afterwards. But let's go here and show off a Firefly, since it's such a super dope ability as well. So when you use Firefly like that, it will literally send green orbs after people, essentially fireflies, and they will hit you. They will essentially hit you, and they will just cause you to burn into flames, which is a super cool ability. So now let's go in here and use Flame Emperor one more time, and then I can show you guys its destructive power. So yeah, as you guys can see here, yeah, it's freaking massive. It does a lot of damage, and it will light everything on fire. So you do have to be extremely careful when using it sometimes. But yet again, using it on stone will probably be with the less amount of damage. So I'm going to here spawn a couple more pirates. We're going to go here and use the burning cross move, and as you guys can see, it literally just lights a cross of fire. Now you guys can kind of tell with the shape of it, it's a little bit harder to see here, but yeah, it's just straight down, straight cross. So yeah, essentially it is a cross of fire. I'll go ahead here, light up in the air so you guys can see more detail. Bam, there you guys go. Yeah, it's literally a cross made of fire, so that's literally all it is. It's just setting enemies on fire with a cross. Very interesting ability, I do have to say so myself. Weird way to set people on fire, but hey, you know, you gotta do what you gotta do. That ability I just used there is Flame Dash. It is literally a fire dash that will send you huge distances because there is not flight with there's no flight with Mera for some reason. But so yeah, instead they gave you this fire dash, so it's like a big huge dash you can use to legitimately just get across places like within seconds. It's super awesome. So after that, we're essentially going to be using Flame Shield. This is literally a wall of fire that will essentially just like knock away projectiles or even hits. Nobody can hit you as long as they're in front of you. So yeah, that's cool. Also, if you do run into people with it, I'll demonstrate here. It will actually set them on fire. So yeah, when you run into people with it, yeah, they will get set on fire for a short period of time. So definitely it is a awesome protective ability. Now, if I go ahead here and oh god, I don't not know what he did. He used something with poison. But if I go ahead here and quickly use my last ability, which is going to be none other than Flame Pillar. It has a super sick animation and is really cool, but I don't really know if it's the best ability in the world. But yeah, here's a huge flame actual pillar. So it literally creates a giant fire pillar that sets all enemies within it on fire, as well as also dealing damage over time, which is super awesome. I'm going to here and use it again. Now, yet again, if enemies are outside of the wall, as you guys can see here, they will not take damage and they will not be lit on fire. But if they do walk into it, I do believe they do get set on fire as well. So that is pretty cool. But I'm going to go here and use it just one more time. As you guys can see, yeah, it will light enemies inside on fire and do damage over time. So yeah, it is a pretty decent area move, but you know, overall it could probably be buffed a little bit and do a little bit more damage. But yeah, no, that is Mera, a really super strong fruit, and I do have to say that it's a lot of fun to use. It has a bunch of combo potential, so I know a lot of people are going to be interested in getting their hands on this devil fruit, because you know, it is the flame fruit. So yeah. Alrighty guys, so we're going to be taking a look here at none other than the Suna no Mi, otherwise known as the Sand fruit. That is going to be the next fruit, but before we go ahead and hop right on into the Sand fruit, its abilities, how its Loki works, I'm going to go ahead here and specify something for you guys. So there is a lot, and I mean a lot of devil fruits in this mod. I'm going to go here and show you guys just the full list. It is huge. There is a crap ton of devil fruits, and if I was to go over every single freaking one of them in this video as I originally planned, it was going to take probably close to 2 hours to make this video. Not just to make this video, but actually 2 hours for you guys to watch on YouTube. So I am going to be splitting this video up into 2 parts. I decided that last minute that yes, this is going to be a 2-part video. So I'm going to be explaining all the devil fruits. I'm going to be explaining more devil fruits after this one, but you guys would need to check the description for which ones I'm going to go ahead and be showing off in the next video. So I'm going to be checking out in the next video Goro, Moku, Magu, Gura, Pika, and Hiei. So those are, and Yami as well. So if you guys definitely want to see those fruits, especially those fruits, they're going to be in part 2. So part 2 will be up a few days after this video, so do not worry, it will be up very fast, because what I'm going to do is I'm essentially going to split the video into 2 parts, and then eventually after like a few months or whatever, I will put them into one video for you guys. So if you guys want to see a super long video, you guys can see that, but for the people who just want to have a shorter video and see more other devil fruits and what they're like, that will also be available to you guys. But let's go ahead here and check out the Suna no Mi fruit. So yeah, let's go ahead here and check out its abilities. So first off, you will have none other than Desert Espada, which user forms his hand into a blade, stabs into the ground, and creates a hand, essentially a blade that destroys everything in its path. You create essentially like a really small crater, essentially, where you can kind of hit people with it. Sable, the user launches a compressed sandstorm at the opponent, which sends them flying. This is an amazing, awesome ability. It's super freaking awesome. Bear Jane, it launches a crescent-shaped wave of sand at the opponent and dehydrates them, so essentially it's just a projectile that you can use to hit people. Desert Incero, which quickly drains the enemy in front of them users of their moisture, leaving them weak for a few seconds. This essentially just sucks out all the water from somebody and essentially kills them. Ground Death essentially dries out the surroundings and suffocates them essentially. In Go Sand, Desert Gristle, essentially it creates a giant pit of quicksand, and essentially it will literally essentially just create quicksand where enemies will sit on it and they will suffocate, but it only works on sand, so you have to be careful about that. And then Sable's Peso with the user compresses Sandstorm essentially, and then shoots it out as a kind of projectile. With these passives, you do get Elemental Flight, so this does allow you to fly when you have this Devil Fruit, and it also has low gate invulnerability, so you can only essentially be hit by Hockey. Which is super dope. Obviously, most Logias are like this. So yeah, let's go ahead here, check out all the abilities, see what they have to offer, and what's going to happen. So first off, with the first ability, it will have a little bit of build up, but as you guys can clearly see here, you create essentially a small crater forward. Now this is a very small one, because I kind of like, the timing and everything you have to use with it is kind of weird, but if I show it off here, yet again, bam, it will continue to go off in that way, and it will create a small crater going in whatever direction you're essentially looking in, as long as you're looking up. So it will create a small crater in that direction, which is super awesome. Now quickly here, we're going to spawn some pirates just with swords, or quick like show off the second ability, which is Sandstorm, and I did fall in here. Unfortunately, I will show it off again, but yeah, you create a huge sand pillar that essentially launches blocks up everywhere, and will continue to go in any direction that you look in. You guys can see here in the distance, it will just continue to go after a while, and it will launch blocks everywhere. It is an amazing ability, super huge, super crazy, massive damage, and is super strong. Especially in the desert, it's stronger. There's the first ability again. I just wanted to use it and show you guys how it actually could work with full sand, as well as here's another look at the second ability in case you guys didn't steer it. And yes, you can steer it. It is a little bit slow sometimes, as you guys can see, like, oh, I'm looking in that direction. Oh, if I don't do it in time, it does happen. But the destructive capabilities of it are insane, and you know, if you actually hit somebody with it or a town with it, it's kind of freaking crazy on what you actually can do. So yeah, next up we're going to be using essentially the third ability, which is just the Crescent Moon Wave. That is just a straight up projectile. It hits enemies, does a crap ton of damage. I'll go ahead here, show it off here, as you can see here, and just hit an enemy with it. It does a crap ton of damage and kills a basic enemy in one shot, so it's just like bam, really easy, really good projectile to go ahead and use. So for this fourth ability, it essentially, you need to look at somebody directly, and you can hold them like this. So I initially just sucked all the moisture out of his body and killed him with essentially a grip. All you have to do is walk up, look at somebody, press that button, it will literally grip them, start holding them, and yeah. This is the fifth ability. It will essentially just put sand around enemies that you're looking at. You cannot move for the first few seconds you use it, but after that you can move. But essentially it is suffocation, as you guys can see here, since I just went ahead and used it there. So yeah, okay, here yet again, gonna use the fourth ability again so you guys can see in more detail. Yep, you grip an enemy, hold them like this, suck all the moisture out of their body, slowly kill them, just like that. It does have a little bit of a cooldown, so do be careful. I'm gonna go here and show off the fifth ability yet again. The one where you just cover your enemies in sand. So I'm quickly here going to spawn some more pirates, so I can show you a little bit more detail. So bam, here's the fifth ability again. Bam, I cannot move in the first few seconds, like the first, I think, 50 seconds you cannot move from anything. You cannot move at all, but they are buried in sand, and they will slowly begin to suffocate and die. So yeah, essentially you're just covering them with sand. And yeah, so that's essentially how that move works. I'm going to spawn a few more enemies here since I am just killing all of them. And we're going to here show off the sixth ability, which is going to be none other than quicksand. Now yes, you create actual quicksand. Now this only works on actual sand, so you do have to be in actual sand to be able to use it. But yeah, no, when you are, you essentially will use it. It will create quicksand. Any enemies or allies or just anyone who walks into it will slowly begin to sink essentially, and it will start to cause damage just like this, as you guys can see here, whether I spawn it. And this is kind of a permanent block. I do believe that no matter what you do, this block will actually stay here as long as you still have the Devil Fruit. I think maybe if you do lose the Devil Fruit, potentially the quicksand does go away. You guys can try that out for yourself, but I do believe it does stay even if you don't have the Devil Fruit, is what I meant to say. But I don't know, because I have not tried that out just yet. But here I'm going to go ahead and show it off again. Bam, they will slowly start to sink, and once you get past a certain part of sinking, you will start to take damage and suffocate, obviously. So yeah, definitely don't want to be caught in quicksand, but it does only work on sand, no other blocks, so you do have to be careful of that. So yeah, definitely that. I'm going to go ahead and be showing off the final ability. Yet again, I'm going to spawn a little bit more enemies, so I can show it off. And that is going to essentially be this like sand projectile move. So essentially, you just build up a little sand, as you guys can see here, just like this, and then you launch a projectile of sand. Does a crazy amount of damage. and is freaking insane. But yeah, those are all the abilities essentially of Suna. It is an amazing Logia Devil Fruit, and is definitely another one people want to get their hands on, especially if you live in a desert, because living in deserts actually make this move, or this Logia, as I should say, stronger. It makes this Logia just way more stronger, a lot more destructive capabilities, and gives it just so many different more options that you can have to use against actually fighting people. So that's really awesome and really cool to see. Now I'm actually going to quickly show off the flight, so I'm going to quickly switch my game mode over to survival so I can show you guys what the flight looks like for this Devil Fruit. So yeah, when you're in survival, bam, it does give you flight, like I said before. So yeah, you can fly, your legs turn into sand. It's pretty awesome, pretty cool ability. Not the fastest flight ever, but it does give you flight, so that is a thing. So yeah, really hope you guys really enjoy Suna. Gonna go ahead here, show off a lot more of the Devil Fruits, so I really do hope you guys enjoy.
束があるんです。それをまず果たさなければ私、男が立ちません。
財宝か。今日から喋るな。欲しけりゃくれてやる。探せ。この世の全てをそこに置いてきた。